This is your Monday Daily Delivery. I am Michael Rand, Patrick Reusse with me as always on Monday morning. Patrick, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just had this thought, Mike, as we're getting started here. You know, we worry about spectator sports in this country and things like that. We on Saturday afternoon we had a sellout at Target Center, and a way over capacity sellout at in St. Paul. We had 37,000 people going to sports events in two different arenas in the towns. Man,
and right after that, the Loons played at 7, and they did pretty well too.
I missed that one. Did we win again?
Yes. It was a triple header. Yes, it was 1-0. It was a triple header of wins on Saturday.
So at this point, we've scored one goal in every game, and we're unbeaten, right?
I believe that is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that might be why I didn't pay any attention. But okay, we'll get on with life here. But this all started, of course, late Friday night, early Saturday morning. I was up in Virginia watching granddaughter hockey.
Okay.
And it was about 10 o'clock in the morning before I became aware that Carlos Correa was going to sign with the Twins. And I was as stunned as everybody else. And of course, the first thing you hear, first thing I looked up was to see if Boris was the agent, right?
Yes, of course.
I found out in middle January that he had switched, that Correa had switched to him in the middle of January. And so then I heard 3-year contract, and I said, the first thing I said is, okay, when is the first opt-out? And the first opt-out is after the first year, because that's the way Scott does business. He probably promised Correa $300 million, and he couldn't get it.
Yep.
So he'll just wait. He'll just wait a year, and that's okay, because the Twins need a shortstop for at least a year. Now, Royce Lewis at his best will never be on the same planet as this guy, at least as a hitter. But the timing of it couldn't have been better for the Twins to get the best one of the 2 or 3 best shortstop in the game. I think maybe the best when he's healthy for a year, and then hope Lewis is ready to play. That's pretty good. So I think it changed the perception of the team about 180 degrees, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't spent. I mean, the Donaldson contract was one thing. I mean, that was a pretty big outlay of money. But signing a player, even if it ends up just being for a year in, the prime of his career, same kind of timeline as Byron Buxton. They were the 1-2 picks in that draft. Whatever it was, 7-8 years ago, however long ago it was now. But yeah, just signing them, having him on that timeline, having a player of his caliber in, at shortstop. We were kind of mocking them a week ago when they traded for shortstop and then traded him away right again. It's like, what's the plan? Well, I don't know if this was the plan all along, but it changes the perception of how they spend money, and it changes the perception of kind of what they're up to in 2022.
Yeah, they, I think, feel like, okay, the White Sox are going to win the Central Division in all likelihood. They have a $210 million payroll, by the way, $80 million more than the Cubs, and at this point. And but you all of a sudden, obviously their starting pitching is beyond iffy at the moment. But you look at the lineup. I kind of tried to slap one together yesterday. And in my lineup I can have Sano hit 6th, so that's okay. That's where I want him to hit. And the secret weapon for me this year, now that they have this guy, is Kirilloff's going to be a hell of a hitter too. So that's a pretty good looking lineup right now. If they can stay healthy, Buxton's healthy. You could put Polanco and Arise. I would put Arise. Some people think Urshela will play, but I really like Arise as an offensive player, and you could put those two guys at the top of the order, and then start, Buxton, Correa, Kirilloff, Sano. Pretty good. It's pretty good. Get Kepler hitting 7th. So in my lineup. So yeah, You know, it would be nice to see Rocco say, okay, this is my lineup 6 days a week.
Yes.
Let's
right.
not just, we got Correa here. He's making 36 million. Let's have him play 150 games. How about that? Let's do it. Come on.
That'd be great. That's not been the history of Rocco, nor has it been the history of Correa, but we'll see. And you're right. The lineup looks a lot better. I'm still wondering how the pitching's going to shake out. I mean, they signed Joe Smith. Insert your draft pick jokes here. Draft pick fiasco of basketball, the basketball era. But if I still don't know how that starting rotation is going to hold up unless it feels like they got one more move they got to make. And if they do, and if they can get one of these Oakland pitchers, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this team has enough. If, but not every if has to pan out for them to be in at least wild card contention.
No, and the bullpen could be slapped together. You're right now saying, oh, they need bullpen arms. Well, we don't know. They might not. I saw Lavelle wrote something the other day. All of a sudden they might have Duran in the bullpen throwing 100, pitching the seventh inning if he can get it over the plate. So bullpens, when they look good, sometimes they turn out to be bad, and when they look terrible, sometimes they turn out to be good. But you got Duffy and you got Rogers. You got two guys. You got the eighth and ninth inning 3 days a week there with those two guys, and then the rest of it is just arms, and you'll find out. But I'm not that worried about the bullpen. But you're right. Right now, your starting rotation is Sonny Gray. The two kids, Ryan and Ober, who I like both of them, and then probably you're down to Dylan Bundy and guys like that. So yeah, one more starter and it could look a lot different.
Take a playcation to Mystic Lake for 24/7 gaming, fun restaurants and bars, and luxurious hotel rooms. And join Club M to bask in the rewards. Follow the lights to Mystic Lake, where every day is play day.
How do we feel about having another member of the cheating Astros on the team? And when we signed Marwin, we didn't know.
What are we still worried about that for? That's 5 years ago. They've been back in the playoffs since then. They've showed they don't need it. They've been back to the World
It still
Series.
Bothers me a little bit.
It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother. It never bothered me as much as it bothered a lot of people. And Correa was one of the guys that apologized. And they cheated, but they hit pretty good when they didn't cheat. So it's I don't know. I that was about my 23rd thought when I heard that they got Correa. So it doesn't. It
wasn't my first thought, but I don't know how they'll play.
I hate play with who. I mean, it might not play well on social media because you got baseball hating idiots who are on there, but as far as that target field, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think most people have probably forgotten about it at this point, but I don't know. That still bugs me. I don't think we whitewash history, but at the same time, it was long enough ago that you're right. They've proven a certain amount since then, but I don't know. I don't want to just give them a free pass on that because they cheated and won. They cheated and won, and that's still I don't know. At the time, I was pretty fired up about it.
Yes, but they beat the Dodgers, so they did America a favor. They beat the Dodgers, so they did America a favor.
Well,
if you got to cheat to beat the Dodgers, I'm all in favor.
Okay. A lot of basketball, Patrick, over the weekend. Men's and women's upsets all over the place. Iowa State in the Sweet 16. Gabe Kalsher, former Gopher, had 22. They beat Wisconsin, so they did everybody else a favor around here in doing that. But just so many upsets. Geez.
Yeah, it was terrible. Hey, I forgot to look. Did the Iowa State men won too, right?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, Iowa State.
No, and the women. Did the women won too, right?
I pause for a minute here.
I think last time I looked, they were like 15 ahead. But I was thinking that the Ames people, the smaller segment of the state of Iowa, population that follows Iowa State instead of the Hawkeyes is having fun this weekend. If Ashley Dodds and her teammate, I think they won. They're still alive.
Yeah, the Iowa State women won by 23.
Yes. So the Iowa State women advance and the Iowa State men advance, and the Iowa Hawkeyes Big Ten champion, lose in the first round in the tournament. And then yesterday, my girl Caitlin Clark throws more rocks than anyone in history, and they end up getting beat at home by Creighton with a couple of three Minnesota kids that played prominent roles in that game. So yeah, you're right, but a lot of upsets. Man, Wisconsin is bad. Okay, they're bad. How they went 15-5 is unbelievable. Now that Chucky Hepburn, who's a freshman, who's a pretty good player, got hurt in the first half.
Right.
But they're 2 for 22 on threes. 2 for 22. The other thing is, did you watch the end of that game? There's like 2.5 minutes to go, and they're letting them come down, and Iowa State come down and dribble for 30 seconds, and they were very placid operation. And Tyler Wall, who I really like a lot, did nothing. And Davison was their best player on the court. Well, he was about the only guy still trying at the end, but it was pathetic. Big Ten, 9 teams in, 2 make it to the Sweet 16. A long shot, Michigan, and Purdue, which has been the most talented team all year.
Yes.
And just underachieved. They're still alive, and they could. I think they get St. Peter's, right? I think they get.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they get St. Peter's. St. Peter's. So what a story that is. Jeez.
But they should make the regional final, and they're good. But man, the Big Ten, I thought they were overrated all year, and they are. But Mike, here's my real comment on college men's basketball. Okay. It's terrible.
Oh yeah,
it's terrible. People don't make shots. It's they're mugging each other. It's the quality with all these transfers and all these 6th-year guys. You thought it'd be great this year. Watching the game is god awful. Every time a ball goes out of bounds in the last 2 minutes, we got to have 3 jerks go over there and look at a video for 7 minutes. It takes the last 2 minutes of a close game takes an hour because they're reviewing everything. Just this all started off when they were going to review if it really, really was controversial. Now it can go off some guy's head and they're going to review the damn thing. Drives me nuts. I can't stand it.
You see, the players immediately, and every time something happens, you see them signaling that little review it.
They can't demand it. The referees can say no.
I know.
Let's go. It's it's just ridiculous. And these guys, they love it too. These pompous jerks, they go over there with the whistles. They go over there, and oh man, now I can announce to CBS what my call is. And, oh God, they drive me nuts. Just get just say, nah, I saw the guy's hand. Let's go. Come on.
You're right. I mean, you're right about both those things. In particular, I get into it with people sometimes about the difference between college basketball and the NBA. They're like, how can you, the NBA, like all they do is wait till the fourth quarter. It's not a great game. Like the NBA, like the action in the NBA is 10 times better than college basketball. It just is. It's a fact. There's so much more talented than the players you see in college basketball. Not that you can't root for college basketball. Not that it's not fun to, root for your school. Not that there aren't great players in college basketball that make for exciting, tense games, but the quality of play is so much better in the NBA.
Yes. Even on the nights Giannis decides not to play or somebody, which is, of course, the biggest problem with the NBA. But yes, I've been saying, I hear people, I like the college game better. Why? Why? You just saw Wisconsin go 2 for 22, in a game to get to the Sweet 16. This is the Big Ten co-champs. And you could have locked them in the gym and they couldn't have gotten 60 points yesterday by themselves. They were clowns the whole game. And then this is, just because it's close doesn't make it good.
Right.
And I think the quality of the player is the worst it's ever been. And I think one reason for that is so many teams don't have any depth because you got 350 Division I schools, and everybody, if they don't get to play, they transfer, right?
Right.
So they go someplace, and they're spread out, and then I don't know. It's just, the best basketball team I saw yesterday was the South Dakota women's team taking down Baylor.
That was great, wasn't it?
Oh man, that's something. I was just sad that Kim Mulkey wasn't on the sideline for Baylor. Just because it's women's basketball, she is underrated as a lunatic. She is a lunatic. She's now at LSU, and they're still alive. But I mean, I watched a lot of that game. That was fun. But college basketball, I mean, I just click over to it now. I can't stand to sit and watch a whole game. The quality of basketball is terrible, I think.
You mentioned Giannis a minute ago. We should mention the Wolves. You talked about it quickly that they won over the Giannis minus Bucks. No Giannis the other day. Did you see the Wolves have pulled even now with the Nuggets? They are both 42 and 30 in that race for the 6th seed. The Nuggets have lost 2 in a row, including last night to the Celtics. So with 10 games left, the Wolves have, they play each other once, I think, here in a little while. Wolves have 2 big ones with Dallas now back to back, but they have pulled even with Denver now. They have at least a chance to get up into that top 6.
Trouble is they probably have their 10 left. They have their toughest 10-game stretch of the season coming up here. Probably 7. Well, we had Milwaukee on that list. So the next 6, right?
I think so. Dallas, it gets
Dallas. I think they got to go to Boston, which has been playing out of its mind for about 2 months now, 6 weeks, and the schedule is nasty.
It is. They get 2 with Dallas, 1 with Phoenix, Boston, Toronto, the Nuggets, Rockets, Wizards, Spurs, Bulls. So it gets easier after this stretch. Yeah. Rockets, Wizards, Bulls, and then Rockets, Wizards, Spurs, and then Bulls at the end.
The Bulls have hit the wall too down there, so I think there've been a lot of guys hurt or something. But so if they could win half of them, if they could go 3-3 the next 6, that would probably give them a shot there. So if one of the wins was over Denver, that would help. But
yeah.
I mean, they are putting up some points. Whew.
Yeah, they are. That offense is really clicking right now.
The other night, they were fighting to get one. If they hadn't called off the Dogs, they could have went 140 against Milwaukee. So, they're it's fun, man. It's they're certainly more entertaining than my guy Tibbs's team that won 47. Was it 47?
Yeah, they've got a shot to match that. If they go 5-5, they get 47 this year.
Yeah. Hasn't this is probably surprise wise. I'm trying to think of last time we were this pleasantly surprised, because I think we thought the team with Butler was going to be pretty good, right?
Yes.
We expected that to be a playoff team. But this team, early in the year they had that 6-game losing streak, and we were all doing podcasts saying Cat will be asking for a trade by the All-Star break, and he'll want out of here. And this is going to be a train wreck. And D'Angelo isn't that good, and blah blah blah. And it turned out just the opposite. And it's also nice to have a cool coach.
I was going to say, Finn's got to get some Coach of the Year votes, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's just a cool dude, man. He's. I told you the story about. They got him to talk to that coaches clinic. Last year, and they've had a hard time. Well, Ryan would do it, but Tibbs wasn't real enthused about it. To go talk to all the high school coaches.
Right.
He goes over there and talks to him for an hour and a half, and says, "Hey, I'm going over to Brits for a beer. If somebody wants to join me." And about 50 guys went over there and drank beer with him at Brits after he talked to the high school coaches. He's just a basketball. Just like Tibbs, he's a basketball nut, but he handles it a little more calmly. So,
good way to put it.
But he's and if he does chew him out, it's going to be privately. So, but I mean, it's pretty good, pretty good situation right now, and people are showing up too. I mean, they had have they changed their capacity? Because I heard now it's 17,000 something sellout. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if they're still. I don't know. Maybe they might have a while ago. They might have kind of eliminated some. Might have gotten rid of some of the bad seats and moved some stuff in. But I think Finch has got to get some votes for Coach of the Year. And the guy who didn't get everything right in every decision, Gerson Rosas, put together a pretty good roster and picked a pretty good coach before he was shown the door.
But what are we going to do about our general pessimism here now? You got the Wild. The Wild might go get Fleury, the goalie, right, to try to win the Stanley Cup, and they're still in good shape, even though they had the 2-3 week slump. The Wolves are the best they've been in a long time, and the Twins just got Correa. Who we mad at?
I don't know. The Loons keep winning. I think we're mad. Here we go. We're mad at that's a perfect transition. We're mad at the Vikings because they didn't do anything. They keep bringing back the same guys. They keep going 8-9, 9-8. They got, brought back Cousins. They're bringing back Hunter. They haven't really done much. This new regime has been kind of like the old regime so far. And I think that's common. These guys, they come in. I think that happened with when Guerin came in, or even the previous regime. And when Rosas took over the Wolves a while ago, you don't make all the moves right away. You kind of wait and see what you have on your roster before you make these sweeping changes. But I thought they might do more right away, but I think the Wolves want to win, and so it's kind of a precarious position to be in where you're trying to change but not change too much.
They blew up. I mean, we all thought they might be blowing up the defense too, and they're it looks like Smith's back. They're all going to be back. So at least not Anthony Barr. He's a free agent, but. I mean, Kendrick's going to be back the way it looks. Huh?
Seems like it, yeah.
I like him. There's a lot of rumors they're going to get rid. They made the salary cap number for the league year.
Yes,
but they still got to sign rookies and the like. So they still got some stuff to do, right? They're going to salary wise, they're going to have to do something. But it's amazing how they promise guys more money in order to improve their salary cap situation, which is weird as hell. Thielen made a Cousins-like deal, right? He spread out his money, but got more of it. Did he get more of it?
I don't think he had any guaranteed money left in his deal. He just had some cap, so they guaranteed some of it, I think. But yeah, I mean, Ben Gessling does such a good job breaking that down. But the salary cap is it's a mirage. It's you can convert. Even with Hunter, at any point, they can convert his roster bonus into a signing bonus and create more cap space if they want to. So I think they got to a point where they could didn't have to do that yet with him, but they could still if they need to make more room for other signings or other things happen. So it's a cap, but it's not like NHL. I love the NHL salary cap because it's just like there's no gimmicks to it. There's some dead money like with Suter and Parisi if you end up buying them out, but you can't make it more one year than the next. It's the same amount of money you're paying the guy over the life of the contract, and it's the hard number. And if you're not underneath the number, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. So do you? I think we found out in the NFL what can happen when you have a crazy owner. Deshaun Watson and what Cleveland gave up for him. I say that's a Jimmy Haslam deal, don't you?
Yeah, I
can't believe Stefanski and his general manager wanted to mortgage that much to get a guy who probably is going to miss half the season when the NFL suspends him, right?
Yeah. No, it's
or at least 4 games.
I saw that deal and I was like, wow, that's the amount they gave up for him. Was it 3 first round picks?
3 rounds. And Houston was saying that, and everybody was saying nobody's going to give you a 3, for a serial, whatever he is, Deshaun Watson. Nobody's going to give you 3 number ones. He knew the markets, I guess. But man alive, what a I think that's a little more controversial than us bringing in a guy who was one of the cheating Astros for the Twins, right?
Yes, I agree with that.
Oh, you think the first Deshaun press conference is going to be a little confrontive there? Ooh, they're going to start asking questions, and he is not going to want to answer.
No, he's not. That was
he's going to use the "I can't talk about it because it's a legal situation" or something, right?
Yeah.
Those are what he's testified. He's given depositions in 2 of the 22 lawsuits so far, and all he said is no. He said he wasn't going to incriminate himself, so he wouldn't talk. So, but that lawyer's going to keep calling him in there. So, I don't know. That is a weird deal that you would give up that much for it. But Baker Mayfield's available if you're.
Baker Mayfield is available. He'll be available for a while.
I haven't seen the quote that somebody from the Browns says we want to get an adult to play quarterback, and your adult is getting sued by every misogynist, and but that's your adult that you want better than Baker Mayfield. Unbelievable.
See, Gophers play Massachusetts, UMass, in the opening of
defending champ last year, where they were there in the Frozen Four with 3 Minnesota teams, and the Dirty Dogs won it.
I know it.
They aren't nearly that good this year. The Gophers are the 2 seed; they're a 3, but they got to play them out there, right?
Yeah, Worcester.
Yeah. So, but Gophers are really good. They finally that ended what? How long was the winning streak? At least 9 or 10 games, right? Before they got by Michigan.
You see the crowd they had too. They had like a sellout for that game.
Yeah, and by the way, remember all of us complaining about the Big Ten conference and it's terrible.
Yes.
WCHA.
Yes. I still do.
The 1 and 2 seeds, Michigan and Minnesota, the 1 and 2 seeds in the tournament, and we got to bring this up: the Don Lucia finish in that game.
Yeah, Chip wrote about that. That was good.
Chip wrote about it today, but Chip took Lucia's side. I have a hard time suggesting that there was a bad call made, and 40 minutes later, I can decide we're going to restart the game. There's got to be a time. There's been bad calls made for 100 years, with or without replay. You cannot go back and bring people back. There were guys over at Mettler's who paid for their special dances after the hockey game. And now they had to get up and leave right in the middle of it and go back to the hockey game. They want their money back. It's bad for the economy. All the bars down there that are around the stadium, arena, they ended up, people were coming back to the game. It was an hour. It was an hour before they dropped the puck. You can't do that. Game's over. When you review it in the arena with your official reviewing crew and say it's a goal, the game is over. You cannot go back because somebody up in the stands had a cell phone video showing you that the net was up.
Yeah.
But they were trying to give Bemidji a chance to get in the tournament,
But
here's the deal, Mike. If Bemidji scored that goal, they wouldn't have replayed it. They wouldn't have replayed it. Because
Mankato would have been in anyway.
Yeah, they wouldn't have replayed. That can't be your reason. It's hogwash. It's, Lucia.
I see both sides of it, but yeah. If you know you got the call wrong and the teams are still there, like I don't think you could go back the next day and replay it, but if everybody's still, if all the players are still in the arena and you're like, we know this was not a good goal. How can you let a team's season end if you know something was wrong? I mean, this is part of sport. Sports is on a crusade to fix everything and have it be fair, but
because seasons have been ending for 50 years on bad calls. That's why. And it's, I said on Twitter that the NCAA has gone back and said that Real Meal Robinson wasn't fouled against Seton Hall in 1989. And we're going to send the teams back out to Seattle and the ones who aren't dead are going to play. But we'll have to get a new arena because the Kingdom got blown up. But anyway,
play it outside.
I think it's stupid. I think it is a can of worms that may never be closed. Because hey, look at, there's that ball didn't go off his hands; it went off somebody else's hands. Get everybody back in here. Bring them back. It's stupid. I think once it's been replayed, you've handed people a trophy, and everybody's in the locker room celebrating. It's over.
Yeah. Well, it was a good talker. It's a good subject. I thought Chip did a good job explaining it, and I don't know. Like I think he made the point that if this was a regular season game, they probably wouldn't have done what they did. They just would have been like, it happens. But if a team's season ends, like it's the championship game and there's an automatic bid on the line, it's like,
okay. You agree with me that if it had been Bemidji scoring, that they wouldn't have done this?
I don't know if they would have. They wouldn't have been
done this.
They wouldn't have been looking at it so closely.
Huh?
They wouldn't have been looking at it so closely.
You can't say, well, we'd kind of like to have Bemidji get a shot to go to the tournament, so let's change it. But if it had been Mankato, we wouldn't have changed it. No bleeping way he would have done that if Bemidji had scored that goal. That's what makes it complete horse poop. That you did this just because you wanted to give that team a chance to go to the tournament. Sorry. It's over. They reviewed it. The people in charge of reviewing it called it you can't have some kid coming out of the stands with a cell phone video saying, look it wasn't a goal. We're going to change it. Idiotic.
Put a big sign on Bemidji State's locker that says, life's not fair. Sorry.
Yes, that's what you do. It gives you something to complain about all summer, right? That's
right.
And
then Mankato won anyway. Mankato won anyway, by the way, scored a quick goal and it's over anyway.
Not that good. You don't belong in the tournament. Go home. Get in the bus and go back to Bemidji. My theory anyway.
But on that note, I think we got to get out of here, Patrick, but you can all go home.
Never agreed with anything Don Lucia did anyway, because we used to have the Doug Woog show.
Oh, yeah.
On radio. It's the greatest show ever.
Yes.
And we got this lump as our Don Lucia show, and it was awful. He wouldn't say anything. So I've been resentful ever since. He ruined the hockey show we used to have because he was a lump compared to Woog, who was great.
Well, Woog is the best. Woog's just an open book, just completely, just stream of consciousness.
I tell you, the greatest Wooger ever.
I don't know, maybe, but I'll tell it again.
At the Metrodome, I think in a Viking playoff game, I was at the Metrodome, and Wooger says, "Hey, Wooger," and we're stopping the hallway, and the hallway's all crowded. And he said, "You know Phil, don't you? He's the guy who gave me the money to put in the hat."
Oh my God!
Who else would have done that? The greatest. When you go from him to the Don, the paranoid Don, it was no fun. I got to tell you. Anyway.
No. All right, sir. Good stuff. As always, we'll do this again next week. I'm sure there'll continue to be no shortage of stuff to talk about. Thanks everybody for joining us here today on Daily Delivery. Patrick, have a great rest of the week. All right.
All right, sir. Thank you.